Hi everyone! Today we're diving into Kinfire Council. This is not going to be an exact how to play, it's just a gameplay overview, without opinions, just how the game flows, so that you can see for yourself if it is a game that you'd enjoy. We'll first cover the base game, then the expansion. Watching this before your first game will hopefully make everything feel familiar while you read the rulebook and smooth out your first session. So let's get straight into it. In Kinfire Council, 2 to 6 players take on the roles of councillors of the city of Din Lux. With the threat of the Cult of Altan taking over, they'll have to utilize their workers and seeker as best they can in order to gather resources, arrest cultists, deal with threats, upgrade the district tiles, and work to build new Kinfire lighthouses. While normally that's where I'd say whoever does that best gains the most victory points and wins the game, in Kinfire Council that's not the only way to win. Players are given the option to join the cult and betray the city. In that case, if by the end of the game the cult has the most points, the player with the most cult influence wins instead. The game is played over the course of 5 rounds that are tracked by a stack of lighthouse side cards. Each round is split into 3 distinct phases: the sun's rise, the day's light, and the night's fall. The sun's rise is a short setup phase for each round. First, the players prepare the docket by drawing 2 decree cards. These cards present various effects that will get resolved at the end of the round, based on the players' votes that are cast on them. Then it's time to unleash the cult. 3 cultists are randomly drawn from the bag and resolved immediately. Numbered cultists are placed on the corresponding district on the map, blocking the space for workers until they get arrested. Then the corresponding space of the threat board gets activated. If the space is empty, a threat card is drawn and placed on it. If there is already a card there, a trouble token is placed on it, which marks progress in favor of the cult. Threats have various effects on them that get resolved once enough trouble tokens have been added on them. Some threats may be instantly activated or have a permanent effect, but the basic premise is always the same. Cult leaders are not placed on the map, but they activate all 3 spaces on the threat board. There are 2 cult leaders in the bag, and if both of them have been drawn, the bag is reset and refilled with the already drawn cultists. The day's light is the second phase of the round and is basically the action phase. During this phase, players take turns placing workers on the various districts and performing the corresponding actions. Each player's seeker can also be placed on action spaces outside the city that can be found on the lighthouse side cards and the threat board. At the end of each turn, a player can also perform an errand, which I will explain in a minute. The various actions that are available to players allow them to gather resources, cast votes on the decree cards, thwart the threats so that they don't get triggered, get research cards that give strong benefits, train their workers in powerful skills, upgrade the districts to reveal improved actions, but also gain cult influence and support the cult if they choose to. Instead of taking one of those actions, the player can instead choose to arrest a cultist in an adjacent space. At the end of each turn, a player can also perform an errand. The 2 main errands are to meet the city needs or send a supply shipment to the lighthouse site. Both of them require payment in resources, are done without the use of a worker, and will provide victory points at the end of the round. Most activities that provide victory points also help the city as a whole and may benefit other players as well, which introduces a semi-cooperative element to the game. Also, not all spaces are equally powerful, and gaining access to the higher tiers requires extra payment in taxes. The various skills of the workers and the seekers override the limitations of worker placement and activation in one way or another, and are all very powerful. Each councillor also comes with their own extremely strong abilities that affect each player's strategy throughout the game. Once all players have placed all their workers, this phase ends. The third and final phase of each round is the night's fall. That's when the docket gets resolved based on the votes cast by the players, victory points get awarded for meeting the city needs and building the lighthouse, the remaining cultists on the board get activated again before being discarded, the workers get back to their owners, and the game is prepared for the next round. At the end of the 5th round, it's time for final scoring. That usually only includes adding some points to the cult based on hidden threats that have been set aside during the setup and potentially others that got added later. Some decree cards may offer additional scoring opportunities as well if they got passed during the game. Once those are calculated, the player with the most points wins. If the cult has the most points, the player with the most cult influence wins. That option is not available when playing with only 2 players though. In that case, the only way to win is by having the most victory points, and if the cult has the most points, both players lose. The Winds of Change expansion introduces a new type of resource, new district tiles that alter the layout of the city, new cards for all decks, and finally a cooperative and solo mode for the game. So let's see those as well in a little bit more detail. The additional components simply add more variety in the game as it is, and ensure that the new resource is seamlessly integrated as well. The new district tiles are introduced as a legacy element to Kinfire Council. At the beginning of the first game with the expansion, and after that through decree cards, some districts get replaced by their expansion counterpart. These changes stay in between games, making the city ever-changing and unique in the long run. The cooperative and solo modes work similarly, since when playing solo, the player controls 2 councillors and follows roughly the same rules. Since the cult already exists in the game as an enemy, the game works pretty much in the same way. The requirement for the players to win is that everyone has more victory points than the cult at the end of the game. The main change in these modes is the introduction of new decree cards that work strictly in favor of the cult. So at the beginning of each round, one such decree card is drawn in addition to the 2 normal ones. These cards come with precast votes on them, so the players have to outvote them if they don't want to see them get activated. The rest of the game remains unchanged. And that's Kinfire Council. Hopefully this overview gave you a good sense of how the base game and the expansion work, so your first session will feel smooth and familiar. If this video helped you decide whether this game is for you, that's also what I was aiming for. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more board game overviews, reviews, unboxings and more, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so that you don't miss the next one. I hope to see you soon. Until then,